Hey there, hope you're having a fantastic day in your neck of the woods. This is Michael Does Life, and thank you so kindly for joining us once again, folks, as we continue to talk about this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. Strap your seatbelts on if you haven't done so already, because we're getting started right here and right now. So E3 2019 has come and gone. There was unfortunately no sign of this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 at E3 2019, despite a lot of rumors suggesting that, hey, that might very well be that time and place where Capcom pulls that curtain back on this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. But unfortunately, that was not the time when Capcom was going to pull that curtain back for this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. So now, with E3 2019 well behind us, where does that put us? Does this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 still have that chance to see the light of day? Well, Capcom's proposal earlier this year was to say, hey, if you want to see this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 happen, you have to let us know. Because after all, folks, this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 happened because of the fan feedback. So Capcom wants to know, if you want to see this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, you have to let them know. And that's why I'm coming on here today to continue, folks, to push really hard and really strong in the quietest of times to say, hey, Capcom, this is indeed what we are still clamoring for. You know what I mean? With that said, folks, we know that Capcom, as of this recording, has numerous titles in development, as I'm sure Capcom is preparing for the next generation of hardware. I'm sure they're trying to kind of make that transition with their engines and what have you, as we know that Xbox Scarlet and more than likely PS5 holiday 2020 for that next generation hardware. So whatever game from Capcom is indeed next, whether it be Resident Evil 8 or this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, I think it's safe to say that it is going to be a cross-generation title, meaning it will still be on current hardware, but in addition to that, you can experience it on this brand new hardware that will get you all of the bells and whistles that Capcom has to offer. You know what I mean? And can you imagine roaming around throughout Raccoon City as Jill Valentine and you hear the frickin' footsteps? Stars! You know what I mean? That would be freaking incredible with the RE engine and how they can really utilize that RE engine and take advantage of that brand new hardware. It would be so freaking mind-blowing. And I think whether it be, again, Resident Evil 8 or this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, I think it's going to be on that new hardware. And it's a very, very exciting time to be a Resident Evil fan. Now, some of you might be like, well, Michael, why do we have to come on here and continue to push really hard and really strong, even in the quietest of times? Isn't it obvious, Michael, that Capcom has listened to the feedback, has heard the feedback about this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3? Sure. I'm very well aware that that is more than likely the case. I'm sure Capcom, as of this recording, is literally working on this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 as we are talking right about now. But it doesn't hurt to come on here and continue to push really hard and really strong to remind Capcom that this is something that we are indeed still clamoring for. You know what I mean? And if we continue to push Capcom in a positive way, not in a negative way, but in a positive way, it might encourage them to talk about this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 sooner rather than later. You know what I mean? So, of course, time is going to be the ultimate deciding factor on when Capcom ultimately decides to pull that curtain back here in regards to this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. But now that E3 2019 has come and gone, it's very fair, very safe to say that those rumors in regards to this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, the rumors of it dropping in January 2020, the rumors of it being outsourced, I think we can officially put those to bed. And I know it sucks that we have to wait a little longer than anticipated, but would you rather have this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 now on old, outdated, current hardware? Or would you rather have a choice down the road to say, hey, we can play this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 on that next-generation hardware, in addition to the current hardware. The more choices, the better. And again, Capcom can really utilize that next-generation hardware to make Resident Evil freaking unbelievable. unbelievable, something that we've never seen before in terms of fidelity, IQ, gameplay mechanics, all of that jazz, because of that brand new hardware that is right around the corner, folks. So if you want to still see this all new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 come to fruition, hit that like button, show Capcom your support. Thank you so kindly for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.